Thank you and welcome to the Ordinary Council meeting for 18th of November. We'll declare the meeting open at 6:02. And I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet and pay respect to elders past, present and emerging. Now, record of attendance and apologies and approved leave. We have Councillor Miloseski, Councillor Irwin, Councillor Layton and myself, Councillor Gibson. Then officers, we have Matthew Bird, Paul Spencer and Les Mainwaring. And apologies, we have Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Moody and Nat Bell. Then leave of absence is nil. And then point 3, response to previous public questions taken on notice was nil. Point 4, public question time. Would anyone in the public gallery like to ask a question? Stand up, Ainsley, and at the lectern, and if you can please introduce yourself and then ask away.
Good evening, I'm Ainsley Bolts. I'm the Chair and Creative Director of Roundabout Arts, and with me tonight is
Anne Tubman from Hopetoun Projects.
As you know, we came last meeting about the change of use, and apologies, I only read the agenda this afternoon properly. So my question is in relation to 2.3.4, the officer's recommendation number 4. What does it say? Oh, my question is about the condition. The provision of all services shall be at the cost of the developer and at no cost to the Shire of Ravensthorpe. So I'd just like to speak to that. In this case, the developer is Roundabout Arts and Hopetoun CRC, but the Shire of Ravensthorpe owns the building. To achieve the change of use, we're required to fund major compliance upgrades, toilets, 6, wall lining, structural and planning work on a Shire asset. We've already incurred costs for a structural engineer, planning requirements and associated fees to progress this project. At this stage, we do not intend to seek direct funding from the Shire, as we've applied to Lottery West for $480,000, and we'll be meeting with the Ravensthorpe Hopetoun Futures Fund on the 10th of December. However, if those applications are unsuccessful or only partly funded, we may need the flexibility to seek support from the Shire, partial support for a funding program. I'm therefore asking the Council to remove or amend this clause for this project so that as community organisations improving Shire-owned facilities are not treated in the same way as commercial developers and do not preclude future Shire support.
Okay.
Ainsley, thanks for that. So if we remove that clause 4 from the officer recommendation, does that impact your ability to go for your funding for Lottery West and to the Future Fund?
No, the Lottery West is already in, and as you know, we're having a meeting with the Futures Fund on the 10th. So as we went through the process to change the use, we Andy, speak on that part.
So to be able to meet code requirements, okay, let me take a step back. The change of use is from a warehouse to a public building, public hall. So to be able to meet the code requirements for that, we need to put in toilets, wall installation, ceiling installation, and other emergency exits and what have you. And what we're saying is that we've included that in the funding to Lotteries West, but if that funding isn't granted or is only partly granted, then we may need to seek funding from elsewhere, which is why we've got the meeting on the 10th. And if we can't get full coverage of funding, then we want to be able to still have the ability to come to Shire to ask for some funds if there is a shortfall. So that's the reason for asking for that clause to be amended, because it currently states the provision of all services, including augmentation of existing services necessary as a consequence of any proposed development, shall be at the cost of the developer and at no cost to the Shire of Ravensthorpe. So what we're saying is, in summary, is we'd like to leave that door, have that door left open.
So, and I think tonight when we came last month, we had priced up just the gantry, the staging, those sorts of things. And when the compliance came in, that's added another $200,000 to the project. And as you're aware, when I spoke last month, Locksley West is capped under $500,000. So if you go above $500,000, they will only cover 30%. So we tried to start with that. But compliance issues mean we now have to have, we had one toilet in it, remembering this was a garage, a mechanic's garage. So compliance-wise, we've got 3 ladies' toilets and 3 men's toilets.
A disabled toilet.
A disabled toilet. We have to have lighting on the wall. We have to, what's that?
Get insulation on the walls to make it a habitable space.
On the roof.
Ramps to be able to get up to the stage, obviously for disabled access. So there's a tick boxes that we need to tick to be able to meet the code requirements that come with the change of use.
And if you're successful in your application to Lottery West and the Future Fund, would that clause still be okay as it is?
Yes.
Yeah. So it is subject to the outcome of those two grants.
Correct.
Which we were hoping to have it all resolved before this month's meeting, but obviously with timing.
So maybe we can amend
Yeah.
clause 4 to have something in there about subject to the outcome of your grant applications, and then that leaves, it still meets the intent of what the planning officer is trying to achieve, but gives an option to the council of that consideration.
Yeah,
That would be great.
Yeah. So how do we do that then?
I don't know. I'll have to think about that. We'll get there.
Okay.
So do you know how much you've asked through the Futures Fund in the last?
Yeah, it'll be just over 200,000.
Adding some words on the
So
end.
that's project all up, you're up
Subject to grants.
700 and
700 something.
Yeah.
So you've got 440 from Lodges West,
490 from Lottery.
so
490.
498.
So it was sort of a moving every time it went back to a planner or a structural engineer or
energy assessor.
energy assessor because of the change of use that brought in all the new compliance.
So can you save money by with the 3 men's and 3 ladies disabled toilets and a disabled toilet? Can you get away with 3
No,
general purpose like
Unisets.
they won't let them?
we're going to have the most toilets in the shop.
We haven't got as many as Ray.
Yeah. So I mean that's another thing that I'd like to have had a conversation with the council at some point. I mean, I've gone through and ticked the boxes to meet code requirements based on the number of people that we can fit in there. But obviously if we are able to put in less toilets, and that's great, but it's sort of a chicken and the egg. Do we need to meet code requirements or not? So
Okay. So do we just do that once we go through
Yep.
to that? Okay.
it gives the council a more of a fully valuable asset at the end of the day.
I guess it too, as Anne said, it makes you understand now that any building you go now to adapt in the Shire, everyone's going to hit the same requirements.
Yeah. Okay.
It's also a tick if you get those in. There's a tick that it's because now shires are becoming or even businesses are now saying and they've got food, coffee, blah blah. They've got disabled tick.
Correct.
as well. So
Which plays into the council's disability.
that's right.
policy.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that all?
That's all.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else got any public questions in the gallery? No? Sweet. Okay, point 5, declarations of interest.
Shire President, yes, we have a declaration of interest from Councillor Miliceski for item 12.3.1, the building envelope variation on 27 Whale Bay Drive. Unfortunately, we don't have, if Councillor Miloseski has to leave the room for that. We won't have a quorum, so we'll have to lay that item on the table for tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Councillor Miloseski. Point 6, applications of leave of absence. Got any there? That one?
Yes, thank you, President. You're good at this. So we do have one from Councillor Moody. Councillor Moody has asked for a leave of absence from the 30th of November 2025 through to the 3rd of January 2026. So we'll need someone to move and second that and vote on it.
Okay, would anyone like to move? Councillor Orban. Seconder. Thank you. All agree on that? Yep. Carried. Okay, point 7, confirmation of minutes of previous meetings. 7.1, ordinary council meeting minutes of the 21st of October. Officer recommendation is that minutes and associated attachments of the ordinary council meeting held on the 21st of October 2025 be confirmed as a true and correct record. Do we have a mover for that? Sue. Councillor Layton, and a seconder? Councillor Orban. All agree on that? Carried. 4-0. Okay, point 8, announcements, reports by elected members. Right, we're going to go around the table here and we're going to go this direction. Councillor Layton?
I don't have much to report, unfortunately. I've been in Perth for a few weeks. Only that we're involved in the recruitment process over that period of time, but it's really not a public event.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Councillor Orban?
Yeah, had the pleasure of attending the AGM of the Progress Association recently. I think it was on the 28th, if I remember rightly. It's the only thing I remember, but yeah, I do. Yeah, thank you for that attendance. It was really well spoken, and there was some pretty good discussion and election of members and the whole lot. And I think we ended up with a new president while he was on the header. Yeah, technology wasn't too hard to overcome and do that sort of thing. Yeah, so there's some good discussions there. Also had the pleasure of attending an FBN network meeting, which was basically a meet and greet in Ravensthorpe, put on by, is it Emily?
At the
Emily,
cafe?
at the little cafe thing. It was the knickknacks and good tucker and all that. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, to meet people who hadn't met before. Yeah. Very good. Entertaining. Was unable to go with Paul on, I think it was the 14th to the Great Southern Regional Road Group meeting, but I think Paul went with Mark. From what I can gather. And yeah, that was basically about it, I suppose, at the moment.
Sweet. Thank you. Councillor Miloseski?
Yeah, myself also attended the AGM for the HPA. So it looks like they've got everything all nearly in place to go towards a 3T housing provider. So once that happens, that'll be a massive win for the community. Also attended the remembrance ceremony up in Ravensthorpe. And Councillor Rachel Gibson did an awesome presentation there, and it was quite well attended, I think. On the 11th there. So, yeah, that's me.
Thank you. For myself, on the 23rd of October, I attended a Raby Co-op meeting and picked a few weeds out the front of the shop. The 23rd of October, I had an interview with Katrina Tapp from ABC Goldfields. On the 25th, I came down here to Hopetoun and went to CWA here and saw the ladies there, and then called into Windspray Arts. Jeff Vivian had a display there, caught up with him. And then on the 27th of October, had an interview with Paul Cook at ABC Great Southern. And then I went up to Raby and met Matt there just to discuss President, CEO and Shire kind of matters. And then we had a recruitment meeting after that for the CEO position. 3rd of November, I went to the JCA meeting, little local community meeting out there. They were very thankful to the Shire for helping assist getting their signs, town signs erected. So they're very quite stoked about that, which was really good to see. And then on the 4th of November, went up to Ravensthorpe prior to the corporate discussion, met with the LGIS lady there, and then we had the corporate discussion. And then on the 7th of November, had an interview with Farm Weekly regarding the shop. 7th of November, CEO recruitment interviews. Then on the 11th, with Councillor Miliceski, did the Ravensthorpe Remembrance Day. And I'd like to thank also the Shire there, Rod and Michelle, for their input with helping organise the day. And then the two yardies that were there, the rose guys, the pruners, the maintenance guys, the roses looked really good, and they were actually there in attendance, which was really nice. And then they came up for the morning tea afterwards, which was nice to meet them. And yeah, there was lots of positive comments, and there was a good turnout, so that was really nice. Then over the course of the week, I did some CEO referee checks. Then on the 12th of November, had a phone call from CBH at Mungdanup regarding their canola stack storage was kind of full, and they were looking at getting close to closing it. And we're like, look. Anyway, they've decided to open one of their outside bulkheads where the wheat was going to go. The wheat will be a problem later, sort of thing. But yeah, so they've kind of improvised there. And then today we met with Paul. A few of us just went up, the councillors went with Paul up at the lookout there to have a look at some works up there maybe. So yeah, that's it. Thank you. Okay, point 9, announcements by the presiding person without discussion. Neil. 10, petitions, deputations, presentations and submissions. Neil. 11, matters arising from committees of council. Neil. Okay, so we'll go on then now to 12, reports of officers. So 12.1.1, local government extraordinary election 2026 and the appointment of the Western Australian Electoral Commission. So the officer's recommendation was that council, by absolute majority decision, point 1, declare that in accordance with section 4.20 of Local Government Act 1995, the Electoral Commissioner to be responsible for the conduct of the extraordinary election, and point 2, decides in accordance with section 4.61 of the Local Government Act that the method of conducting the extraordinary election will be by a postal election. And point 3, endorse the allocation of funds up to $14,500 GST included in the 25-26 annual budget to undertake the Shire of Ravensthorpe's 2026 extraordinary election. Do we have a mover for that? Councillor Corbin. Seconder? Miliceski. Councillor Miliceski. Those in favour? Are you in favour, Sue, of the... Are you in favour? That's 4.
That's good.
Yeah. We'll get you a drink. Thanks, Ainsley. Okay, item 12.1.2, ordinary council meeting dates 2026. So the officer recommendation is that council endorse the following dates and locations for the ordinary council meetings for 2026 period.
President, yeah, I'd like to do an officer amendment to the 15th of September 2026. You identified that was a potential conflict with the next year's Walga conference. So what we're proposing is to change that from Tuesday 6 p.m, the 15th of September 2026, to change it to the 22nd of September. So Tuesday, still a Tuesday, but
Yep.
the 22nd of September.
Okay. And then, so that's point 1. And then point 2, approve the rescheduling of the previously approved Tuesday, the 16th of December 25 OCM to the day before, which is Monday, the 15th of December, commencing at 6 p.m. at Ravensthorpe Council Chambers. So do we have a mover for that? Councillor Auburn. Seconder, Councillor Layton. And all in favour of that?
I'd like to move an amendment.
Yeah, we'll talk on that. Yeah, so, okay, the mover want to speak on that first, though? Which is, yeah. Yeah. Would you want to speak on that first?
Oh, look, I can do, yeah. I think, obviously, look, I'd like to see, I think, hopefully everyone else is in favour of the fact that I'd still like to have some meetings in Hopetoun and potentially Mungdanup. My suggestion would be, in regard to speaking to it, to just nominate some dates for consideration of the council. if that's appropriate to do so. Those dates that I would put would be listed. The dates will be the same, but the location, I offer the opportunity to change it to Hopetoun in March, in May, in August and November, and consideration for a meeting at Munglunup in June.
Okay.
And basically, Councillor Rachel, to give the opportunity for the public to still attend. I know at times it's sort of very, very limited with people that do come along, but I think it's important for council to still provide that opportunity, and also consideration of information we've been provided, the potential for council to hold forums to invite people, engage them in a less formal process, to me seems an exceptionally good idea as well. But incorporate the fact that they could possibly hold some, as suggested in the notes, for Ravensthorpe as well. Yep.
Okay, so that's the amended dates. We've got those noted. Okay. Yep. Do we need a seconder for that? Anyone want to second that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Does anyone else want to speak on that amended motion?
Or again?
Yeah. Okay. Those are for the motion. Those are against the motion.
Not against it.
No,
Sorry, probably going about the wrong way, but I just think, other shires, like if you go to Esperance, they'll be on the road one time out of the year. They'll go to Scadden or Cascades or somewhere there. I don't see why we should take away from that chamber in many ways, because I know the majority of people live here, but it's really quite
Okay, so that got 2 for and none against, really.
So you needed 3.
So can we go? So then we go back to the original.
Do?
Yeah.
Go back to the original motion, which was the officer's recommendation. However, Councillor Layton wanted to move a second amended motion saying reducing the number of Hopetoun locations. So Councillor Aldwin had motion was for four OCMs in Hopetoun and 1 in Munglunup. So if Councillor Layton would like to see some in Hopetoun but wanted to reduce the number, you can nominate the ones a smaller number potentially.
Yeah. I think for convenience that everything's set up there and it's really all the electronics are up there working well, and we've got to, by law we have to record it now. And for me, it'd be more convenient here for me, but I believe Ravensthorpe is central to all the other councils.
So do you want
to? There's 3 of us here.
So do you want to make another amended motion or no?
Maybe
does anybody else?
Well,
go back to the officer's recommendation.
And we vote back on that?
Yep.
Okay.
So can you move another amendment then? I know this has sounded a bit so you kid on the block.
Well, I think you should vote on the
Okay.
officer's recommendation.
Okay, so we go back to the start. Officer's recommendation. Do we have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Again. No.
So the item is left on the table.
Okay, so if we had another mover and then a seconder, we can do an amended again. If we did that or not, you just go back and that's it.
Yeah. So you've had an amended motion.
Yep.
So and that wasn't carried. So unless a councillor wants to do another amended motion.
Yeah. So we can do that now if we wanted to.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. Does anyone else want to make another amended motion? Councillor Orban.
Basically, based on what Councillor Sue said, I'd like to reduce the number in Hopetoun.
Yep.
So I'd still like to, as an amended motion, make consideration of council for March, for August, November, and still have consideration of Munglunup in June.
Can I say that again, Councillor Orban?
Yeah. March, August, November, and June for Munglunup.
March, August and November for Hopetoun and June for Munglunup.
But most people away in June.
Busy seating.
So you need a seconder for that?
And Gordon.
Okay, anyone will second that? No?
That one falls away.
I'm going to make an amended motion here. Okay, can I please amend that I will go to the officer's recommendation, but change the dates March to Hopetoun, August to Hopetoun, and that's it, please.
And no Mangwana?
No.
So the amended motion from Councillor Gibson is change the location for March to Hopetoun and for August to Hopetoun. Is that right?
Yep.
Yep. So do you have a
So
seconder?
seconder? Yep. Okay, all those in favour? Thank you. Got there. Okay. 12.2 Corporate Services, 12.2.1 Monthly Financial Report to the 31st of October. Officers and committee recommendation is that Council receive the October 2025 monthly financial reports as presented. Do we have a mover for that? Yeah. Have a seconder? Yeah. Those for it? Yeah, 4. All in favour, carried. 12.2.2 Schedule of account payments for October 2025. Officer recommendation is that Council, pursuant to Regulation 13 of the Local Government Financial Management Regulations 1996, the payments of accounts for the month of October 2025 be noted. Do we have a mover for that? Councillor Orban. Do you have a seconder? Councillor Miliceski. Those 4? Carried. 4-0. Okay. 12.3 Project and Regulatory Services. 12.3.1 the building envelope variation to support development application for outbuilding shed at lot 27, 15 Whale Bay Drive, Hopetoun.
So we'll have to leave that one on the table.
Yep, leaving that on the table.
Do we have to, if I can ask, Rachel, as a matter of course, as you mentioned earlier to us, if the opportunity comes up to hold a special meeting, as Councillor Layton has made mention of, whether it be through recruitment, can be whatever, do we have to nominate that takes place, or we'll take that as a given?
We will try and get that item to the first available opportunity for council to consider it. So it could be a special council meeting, could be the December ordinary council meeting.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. So due to not having enough councillors here, we are putting that last item on the table. Oh, sorry.
Lay it on the table.
Lay it on the table. Lay it on the table. Okay, so now we're going to 12.3.2 Development Application Signage Lot 5 South Coast Highway in Ravensthorpe. And the officer recommendation was that council approve development application P25 to 40 for a signage at Lot 5 South Coast Highway Ravensthorpe, subject to the following conditions of point 1 to 5 as detailed in the report. So do we have a mover for that? Councillor Miliceski, seconder. Councillor Layton. Those 4? Yep, that's 4-0. 4 carried. 12.3.3 Development Application Signage Lot 51 South Coast Highway Ravensthorpe. Officer recommendation is that council approve development application P25 to 41 for a signage at Lot 51 South Coast Highway Ravensthorpe, subject to the following conditions, which are outlined in points 1 to 5 as detailed in this report. Do we have a mover?
Yep.
Councillor Orban. Seconder. Councillor Layton. Those 4? That's 4. All in favour and carried. 12.3.4 Change of use application to community purpose for Hopetoun Youth Art Space at 299B Tamar Street in Hopetoun. Now, the officer recommendation was that council approve the change of use to community purpose at lot 2, 299B Tamar Street, Hopetoun, subject to the following conditions. And the conditions are points 1 to 5. and also advice notes 1 to 3 in the report.
And then, thanks, Shire President, and following Ainsley and Ann's presentation and the public question time. So the proposed amendment to point 4 would be the provision of all services, including augmentation of existing services necessary as consequence of any proposed development, shall be at the cost of the developer and at no cost to the Shire. And so what we're putting here is subject to the outcomes of grant funding. Does that meet? I think that met the requirement. So that's the amended officers amended recommendation.
Beautiful. So do we have a mover for that?
Yeah.
Councillor Layton. Seconder?
I'll second it.
Councillor Miloseski. Okay, all in favour? 4. Is it carried? Okay, then we're going to go item 13, members' motions of which previous notice has been given, which is nil. And then 14, we have a new business of an urgent nature introduced by decision of meeting. So we have a confidential HR item, a late item for council to consider. So do we have a mover for that item to be considered? Yes, Councillor Auburn. Seconder for that, Councillor Miloseski. All in favour? Okay, carried. So the confidential item is being to be considered, and now we need to go behind closed doors. Do we have a mover to go behind closed doors? Councillor Auburn. Seconder? Councillor Miloseski. Okay, all in favour? Okay, so yes, thank you.
You're welcome to come back later, but
We started chatting.
Well done.
But it's bloody cold out there, is it, mate? Okay.
Let's run away. Okay, thanks for joining us back. Now we go to point 16. Closure of the meeting
Well done.
at 6:53.